going back to again the stuff that we do in our childhood, that's because we've seen how many shows, movies, books, and everything that go, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah,
That's the entire
storybook.
plot of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is based upon a kid who's just in a shitty lifestyle, and then all of a sudden somebody comes along to him and they're like, "Hey, by the way, you're a secret magic wizard who's like going to rule the world and everything like that. Just come along." And so we all end up doing that at some point in our life, not like hopefully for the majority of your life, but you end up doing that where you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to come and tell you that you're supposed to be famous, you're a king or queen of some country you've
Yeah,
never heard of or something like that.
every one of our stories that we've been told is of some damsel in distress, whether man or woman, whatever the gender, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like you're somebody who's inside of a struggle, and then somebody who's outside of a struggle puts a hand out and says, come live your dreams.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I think maybe the idea of a lot of people thinking like that their dreams are just going to find them and they're not going to even look for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not even going to work hard for them. They're not going to hustle as hard because they don't realize their dreams aren't looking for them the way they're looking for their dreams.
Exactly. And I think I never missed a chance to shit on this movie because I hate it. I hate it. I hate its place in a lot of people's hearts and minds. But that's exactly, I feel like, what Pretty Woman teaches people. She was a prostitute who a rich guy loved her prostituting so much that he decided to change her entire life. That's not happening for you people.
Good verb.
Yeah. Prostituting. You like that?
He loved her prostituting.
Yeah. He loved her prostituting so much that he came and decided that I'm going to take all this money that I built over these years to change this person's life. And we build these fantastical stories around that kind of nonsense that just does not make any sense. And so it lives within us that we're all going to be Harry Potter or something like that. And I don't remember what show it was. I want to say The League, but that doesn't feel right. But there's a show where the guy, one of the guys in the show, is talking about how the true story of Karate Kid is about the guy who from Cobra Kai. I forget his name right now and everything. Which now they of course made that show because he's the one who actually did all this hard. What's that?
Johnny Lawrence.
Is that his name in the show or the actor's name?
No, that's the character's name. Johnny Lawrence.
Good. Thank you, because I just wanted to make sure.
Johnny.
So how he's the real hero of the show because he's the kid who actually put in all the hard work and had to go through everything he went through to get there, just to get beat by a kid who cheated and didn't really work that hard, just had like a natural ability for this one move or whatever and stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of true in a lot of ways in life because that can happen to you in life as well. Like you're working super hard at your 9 to 5 and you're getting ahead and you're like, I got to get this promotion, and then they promote the kid's nephew or something like that. You know what I mean? Like somebody who didn't do any of the work to get it. You know,
it's weird because it's easy to just blame something on not being in the right place at the right time and being like discrediting somebody for getting what they got because you didn't get what you got. So you go, oh, well, he's nepotism. He's somebody's nephew. He's somebody's friend's nephew. Like it's like it instead of only doing that, you could do that too, but also no, like you've got to do more work then. You've got to work hard to get what it is that you want because you don't have those ins. So for sure, if you're complaining about that, make sure when you have kids, don't push your dream on them. Don't expect them to do your thing because like you bitched about their nepotism. Now you don't go and like, oh, people will jump all over your wrestling career. They're going to be like, oh, you're Johnny Walmart kick pads need.
Yeah.
You're Johnny Walmart kick pads son. So they got to push you.
See, but that's the only logical reason I see to have children is to push all your failures and things that you didn't do onto them. If you're not doing that, why are you even having kids? Like, it doesn't make sense. You want them to do what you weren't able to do so you don't feel like a piece of crap. That's the only reason I think to have kids.
That's it. This is where your legacy comes from. That's where your legacy comes from. Your kids accomplishing what you couldn't.
Exactly. I don't care if you want to do it. I need you to fulfill my prophecy.
That's why "That's my son" is such a line in movies because that father wanted to be whatever the son was and gave it up to have him. So now his son's gotta. I think that's another whole part of just finding the lack of accountability in yourself to be like, I gave up my dreams for this kid. It's like,
no, you didn't.
I don't, I think you could have still accomplished your dreams if you would have stuck with them. You just wanted to make having this child your cop out for being a lazy twat. can
Yeah.
also do. There's tons of very successful people who are also parents. Like that, maybe I don't want to. I don't want to paint a very broad brush. I but
Hand it
I
to me.
realize
I'll
there
paint
are
it. I'll paint
circumstances,
that picture all damn day. I'll do it.
but I realize there are circumstances that sometimes are out of people's control. But like as the City High song says, baby, I know if my mother could do it, maybe you can do it.
Well, it's to your point, like, and she's been coming up a lot in the news this week, and that's why it's fresh on my mind. Serena Williams won a Grand Slam while she was
I thought you
pregnant.
were going to say the lady from City High has been.
Oh no, no, I don't even know what City High is, to be honest. So.
Oh, it was a 90s R&B rap R&B group.
Oh yeah, that's too obscure for me. I feel like I don't. If you talk about Color Me Bad or Escape or something like that, I'm with you. But City High did not reach my my.
I bet you know the song.
I'll look it up after this for sure, and you're probably right.
I'm gonna sing it to you right now.
I don't think that'll help. I feel like no matter how well you sing it, it's not gonna help. But, all right, so sorry we went off on that tangent. That was a fun tangent, and I'll probably come back to it because now I'm all hopped up on my hatred for Pretty Woman. So Serena Williams won a Grand Slam while she was pregnant. So to that end. And she's won like other championships, things like that, since she's had children too. So the point is, she's able to do it when she's pregnant, and she's able to do it when she's a mother. But also, she's an exceptional human being. So I don't want to make it like everybody can do that. But what it is for a lot of people is that they do find ways to get out of whatever they were wanting to do because they didn't want to do the work to get the dream. Because like I always said, like I always say recently, do you want Jeff Bezos' money or do you want Jeff Bezos' life? Because you can't have his money without having his life. And not everybody wants that life. Not everybody wants to risk all their financial wealth to try to start that company back in the 90s or whatever, when the internet was just a fad. Nobody believed in it and everything. You're out there trying to sell books. And he made that first desk out of like a door and everything. Nobody's doing that. You know what I mean? Nobody's wanting to do what Mark Zuckerberg was doing. None of these people want to do the work to be what they are. They just want the outcome. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. We only focus on the outcome instead of realizing it takes work to do whatever you're going to do. If you're not in it for the work as well, you're not in it. And you're going to take that first exit when it's like, oh, it's a kid. Oh, it's the other job I have. It's whatever it is. And you're going to get off on that exit ramp and just take the hell off.
Well, it's totally easy to compare yourself to somebody else who's really successful and never... And you'll have never understood what their origin was. Mm-hmm. You'll never understand like what their struggle was. Like you could see somebody who's got lots and lots of money now and living the life they want to live, but it took a really long, dirty, yucky road to get there.
Absolutely. And that's like you were saying before, man, not everything is in your control, but everything still has to be your fault. So let's talk about this. Let's just go gender-based, race-based, whatever. There's a lot of prejudice in the world, right? So somebody may hold you back based upon some prejudice. That can be true, but you still have to overcome that if you want to do something. And what you can usually look at is that there was probably a person who had the same prejudices against them that was able to do it. So that tells you it is possible. You just have to find the right way to do it. So I think we let those limiting factors too much get in our head sometimes and shut down whatever we're trying to do.
Well, something I say a lot, and please, you can take this and you can apply it and you can use it. I say. So
you've given me license to claim that I said it, right? That I came up with it.
No, I mean, I'd appreciate the credit. I mean,
no.
But if you don't get around to giving me the credit, I'm not going to be too heartbroken.
No, I will. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, absolutely.
I say if you go into like a bookstore, there's not a lot of them, but if you go into a bookstore, there's $1 billion industry based around a section in the bookstore called self-help. Mm-hmm. And you'll never see a section called self-fix because it doesn't exist. And I think that's what people buying these books think, that they're going to fix themselves. But there isn't self-fix. You just got to continue to seek out the work that you've got to do.
Absolutely. And I think the reason that there are so many of those different type of books because there's so many different ways to do it. There's so many different voices that can help you get there. And it's a process that's never done. You should always be helping yourself. You know, like you said, you're never going to be done. You're never going to be fixed. This is a project that you can't ever finish. Even when you die, you're going to feel like you didn't get to do everything you wanted to do. That's how it works. That's how this whole messed up life we get to live ends up playing out. You're always going to be working on something on yourself. You're always going to be wanting to fix something on yourself. You're always going to want more. because that's how we live, and then till we eventually no longer do that.
Right.
So
And you know, people, I think a thing I say a lot too, which I mean, you can also quote me on it, but I think I don't think a lot of people are really used to all they really live with is reacting to the world happening to them. So
exactly.
like this happened to me, so I had to do this. I had to make this decision because this happened, and like they wind up only living a life that's kind of an observer to the reactions that they've got to make versus being a deliberate creator in their existence and really taking the steps towards the things they want to do instead I think a lot of people meet an obstacle and they don't get over the obstacle or get around the obstacle. They just go, there's that obstacle, and then constantly look at that obstacle for the accountability for them not being something more than what they are. And they'll go, this could have happened. Oh, I would have liked this more in my life on their deathbed. Oh man, I would have liked to have this kind of life. If it wasn't for James being a real dick and being in my way all the time, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an easy way to go, like, that's not my fault. And the not my fault way of thinking is immature as hell. Like, you're not a mature person if you shift the blame from anything and in your brain justify it by going, well, that's not my fault, that's their fault. But like, it's your strength to go, all right, let me get over that, let me forgive that, let me move past that, let me be unconditionally loving to myself and say, man, I deserve what I want, don't I? Yeah. Like, why shouldn't I get everything I want? And if what you want is to be fixed, work on fixing yourself. It's not gonna happen, because there's no such thing as like a clear-cut path to whatever the top of the mountain is.
Thanks for checking out Starting Nowhere. Come find us on Facebook so you can comment on this and other clips and episodes of Starting Nowhere.